Alright guys, hey, we're here with another battle. This one isn't really focused on a specific tactic. More or less, it's more focused on just a well-done battle that wasn't very well played by... It was a 3v3. It was 5 of my friends, and including myself. And one of our teammates on my side did terrible, as well as one of the teammates on their side did terrible, and almost threw the match for both sides. And I just wanted to show you guys what happened. It's 3 normal Shogun players versus 3 Fall of the Samurai players, which normally is a big dilemma. It's for her to win. So, me and Tyler decided to go with the Cav Spam, which is one of our tactics for this. It's also one of our common tactics. Many people complain about it, and I understand why. It's very hard to beat when it's well done, especially with nice units as well as an infantry corps. Having a strong cavalry contingent is a pain in the ass to deal with. So I went with mainly bows and 2 naganatas, and then my cavalry contingent, which included Great Guard and Fire Cavalry. I also had a bow hero. Our ally went with some mounted naganatas, and then a very strong and large cavalry infantry contingent, unlike both of us. And then Tyler went with a large amount of Ashigaru veterans, and his cavalry contingent, which consists of mostly veterans. And then what we can see from our enemies is that they have some elite line infantry, as well as just some normal line infantry. They also, you can't see them right now, they're hidden in the forest, but they do have lots of Tosa riflemen. 2 of them are here. More line infantry, some spear levies, and a general bodyguard back there. These guys, similar army composition, but more spear levies. And he does have actually some people hidden in here, which I discovered later in the battle. He also has artillery. And the final person who nearly defeated us just by himself, the Duke of Lancaster, a guy I've got a lot of respect for, in the game, has Gatling guns, elite line infantry, and then Imperial Guard Cavalry, and some more elite line infantry. Alright, let's start the battle. So to start a battle, I started moving into the forest, and we started to sort of shift our lineups. Me and Tyler were discussing at the time, he was not included in the chat, was that we were going to focus on one flank, and we decided to focus on the right flank. Well, at least Tyler did. Now it's going to busy up the middle, because those cannons were rather a large problem. And we told him to just occupy the Duke, which he attempts to do and miserably fails at, as we'll see. Let's fast forward, get into the action. That might not be the best way to fast forward, it's very laggy. So he moves his Imperial Guard Cavalry out into the center leftish, and I sort of just have my cavalry contingent, or my infantry contingent, sitting there with my bow hero just sitting there as well. That was the first cavalry round sitting, and here are my cavalry swooping in to assist Tyler. You can hear all the orders I was giving out, apparently. Now, this is actually interesting, as he got shredded here by the Imperial Guard Cavalry. And this is where things start to go sour. I'm very concerned about this. And this is also where I realized I needed to remove the cannons. There wasn't much I could do about that. They needed to go. And quickly, they were Armstrong cannons, and were they veteran? They're not veterans, luckily. So then he decides, for some stupid reason, to attempt a charge. And, just reference, never, ever charge cavalry into line infantry while they're facing them. There's very few circumstances where that's what you're going to want to do. Tyler here, brilliantly, not brilliantly, but very smartly, uses his Ashigaru as a meat shield here, more or less, and absorbs the fire from them and holds his cavalry back. Now you might just be looking at this as a not idiotic move until he charges his cavalry, as well as I charge 2 of my Yari cavalry into the Tosa riflemen to assist from behind and wedge. And then I, over here at the same time, was going for the cannons, and I have to break off. I lose a lot of guys here. I don't want to lose all of them. However, I did reroute them, as was going to be the original plan. I just took out the cannons into the rear of his infantry. And you can see that Tyler's just swamping this guy over here. And he breaks fairly quickly, as well as just the entirety of his army breaks. I mean, his, what are those? Imperial Infantry just get rammed up the ass by the Great Guard. Great Guard Cavalry over here killing off his general. His Gatling guns are, I don't know why, but they're sitting useless at the moment. I mean, those could have very greatly assisted him, but they didn't. Now here, again, his entire army's shifting over to try and help out his buddy, and he's already lost a lot of guys. His army's haphazard. His infantry, or his cavalry, as I said, didn't get to see it, but they did charge straight into those guys and got annihilated. However, thing is, he did actually hit those Gatling guns, and I think he did some damage, but very little to them. Now at the same time, as you can see on the battle map, he's fleeing. We just start to sweep up the side and kill. My Great Guard are bogged down here. That spear levy kind of gives us trouble. I don't know if I saw it right away, to be honest, but we'll see what I did about that in a second here. So this other guy, while trying to assist his buddy, got a bit too close and allowed our cavalry to catch them. That was his mistake. And by catching them with our cavalry, we also gives us time to move our infantry in and support them. And from there, you can see that this is where things start to go very badly for them. And he also gets in range of my bow monks, which is starting to give me some kills there. He starts to shift his entire army over to help. They're just sort of sitting there, not doing much. The Duke has sent his cavalry over at this point to try and help them, but I chase him off with my area cavalry.
Our men are running from the
Most of my cavalry at this point in the battle is gone, however I do still have the majority of my army. My army didn't last very well throughout this. It was more of a support factor, as it is in many of my battles. I support my player I'm playing with. And here we start to shift forward. My general's just sitting there to stay safe. I don't want to lose him. This is when he was still a leadership general. Or not. I'd already changed him by this point. So we're just still sweeping across into these guys. Kind of an unstoppable charge through their ranks. And his elite soldiers kind of don't help him. And this is where he shifts finally to realize the fact that we are on his flank in very strong force. And he's sort of surrounded here almost in the corner of the map. I have no clue why the music just stopped. Just watch this without UI for a few seconds.
Our men are running from the battlefield! A shameful display!
Alright, and this is when things got very interesting. And I'm just going to fast forward through most of this as there's not much I can say about it. So my army is over here, shifted on to assault, and also to avoid taking too many casualties. Alright. So we're still just setting up to go after him when I start to march forward, of course. I think at this point... No, my bow hero is still alive. At this point, all of our army is very weakened. The guy that's still got the majority of his army over here is just sort of sitting back here, clustered. And majority of the reason we won this is we were able to crush his allies and get onto his flank and assault him at once, and with a form of coordination, as well as the fact that we really just truly swamped him in numbers. I mean, these are all
our hidden units have been discovered.
High chevron veterans, and it's not very good for us. My Yard cavalry that I sent up there gets caught. Discovered that he does have some hidden units up there. And still shifting. We're trying to find the range of his people before we attack. We don't want to just blindly charge in. my bow hero is able to sneak up, I do believe, and start launching some volleys off into him. But those are it's his Gatling gun that gets going. And we noticed pretty much how dangerous it is. It has the range to hurt us. And I start to go some volleys here and kill off his men. But his Gatling gun does have a range on them. And he slowly starts to kill them. I leave them simply because they're not taking casualties too fast. The forest is blocking off some of the shots. And then this is when he decides to just charge again. And I was not very happy about this decision, as we were trying to figure out a way to efficiently take these guys out without taking too many casualties. And he decides to simply charge, lose his general. And yeah, anyway, this gave us the time, I guess, and distraction needed to move in on force on his flank. I moved my archers in behind to support him because he was able to actually get there and bog him down. And this new discovery has more cavalry than we thought, and more infantry than we thought. And we start to break in big numbers. No clue what's going on with the sounds right now. Our bows really just sat there and supported them for a long while. Those Royal Marines did fight them off. I was able to use them as a meat shield for a bit. My Naganatas are moving in the back, finally to give support. I was holding them back just in case anything rallied. We didn't want them coming into our flank. And really the tipping point of this was we were very close to losing. Largely why we won is that these Naganatas have high health. They were in loose formation, and on top of that, they've got a high armor, so they didn't take too many casualties on the charge in. Their morale was hurting, I'll admit, and as well as my bowmen were able to do some heavy damage on them just by standing there and shooting. So they were able to get into combat, break them off, and they do break, I do believe. Then they're able to rally and flank to the side. So he just swamped them by numbers, and the high armor value and high morale value let us take them out. That could have been done better, I'll admit, but our ally don't have any control over him, so you just gotta remember that. Alright, thanks guys. Helping everyone up soon.